This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, switch off your camera, guys. Okay. So yesterday we discussed about that GitHub administration, right? So I hope everyone has practiced. Yeah, I saw in that chat box also our Skype group. People are doing that practice. Good. Okay. So today we are going to start that commands, Git commands. Okay. See, as a DevOps engineer, what is our roles and responsibilities? We discussed it in yesterday's session, right? So we are going to create the organization. We are going to create the repository, create the team, add the users to the team, right? Then we provided the repository access to that team. So now we'll discuss about that as a developer, how he is going to develop the code, right? And how he is going to commit the code into local repository, how he is going to push the code to the remote repository. So already I have shared this document in that Skype group also related to GitHub documentation. Just to go through this one. So this is what I'm going to refer now. Already I have shared this one in our Skype group. Okay. So first, you guys have to install this Git bash. Okay. I hope everyone has installed this Git bash, right? How to check which version of Git you have installed in your laptop? Very simple. If you are using Windows machine, in the left side you will see that search. There you can go and search with Git space bash. You will see one option. Select that one. It is going to open one command prompt. Yes or no? Just can you open that one, everyone? So after that, just execute this git space hyphen hyphen version command. So if you are using MacBook, just open the terminal. Open the terminal and just type that git space hyphen hyphen version. This is a command to check that which version of Git you have installed. See, I have installed this version. So you guys can post that version, whatever the version you guys can see in your laptop. So many people has installed that the latest version 2.35 that one. Okay, good. So I hope everyone has installed this Git, right? So without this Git, you are not going to connect to that GitHub, and you are not able to push the code, right? So after opening the Git bash, I'm going to create a one project. Okay. So, and I'm going to create a one local Git empty repository where we need to create that folder. Suppose I'm going to work for the Facebook application. First, open the Git bash. Open the Git bash. Then execute this command cd tilde symbol. There you will see that desktop. Okay, go inside the desktop. Go inside the desktop. Then create a one directory. mkdir Facebook microservices. This is our project name. Facebook microservices. For Facebook application, we are developing microservices. Okay. Then go to that particular directory. cd. So now you can check it whether currently you are in that particular directory or not. Okay. So what to do for that one? Which command we need to execute? Which command we need to execute? pwd command. Just execute the pwd command. Okay, let's see. We are going to first we'll go to the desktop. Okay, then we are going to create a one directory. Okay, with the name Facebook microservices. Then go inside that Facebook microservices directory. So right now, if you see, you are in this directory, right? So you are in this particular directory. So here you can create that git empty local repository. So if you want to create a git empty local repository, we are going to use that git init command. Git init command, it is going to initialize, it is going to create that git local repository. Repo means repository shortcut. Okay, repos means repositories. Okay, it is going to create a git empty local repository. Let me execute. So without executing this command, you are not able to execute any git related commands. So all the git commands are going to start with git only. Okay, so let me execute this git init command. Git init, hit the enter. See what it is saying? Initialized empty git repository in this particular directory. And also if you observe, it has created that one directory with the name .git. It has created with the directory name .git. Right. So what the people are going to do, the mistake is usually they are going to create a git empty local repository in the desktop. You should not supposed to. Why? Because no, if you create that git empty local repository in your desktop, so whatever the files directories in the desktop, it is trying to add into your local repository. That is not a good practice, right? And you are trying to push into the remote repository. Everyone can able to access it, all your files. So that's why carefully you have to create a one directory with the name, project name in the desktop, then move inside that particular directory, then you can create that git empty local repository. Clear? Many times even I am explaining also, people are going to do the same mistake. Before executing git init command, remember, very important note, first you can execute the pwd command and you can check it currently where you are in, then you can execute this git init command. Clear? You should not supposed to do this mistake. If you do this mistake, I will kill you. Because again and again I'm saying, and what you guys are going to do the mistake, and I'm explaining that one also. Again, if you're doing means you are a dash dash. You should not supposed to do. Okay. So now I have created a git empty local repository. So it contains it created one directory with the name .git. So it contains that some directories, right? If you see currently we are in this particular directory, and just type ls-l. We see here some directories, some files are there, right? It is going to use. So now go back one level up, cd space dot dot. Okay, so now you are in this particular directory. So here I am going to create some files for the Facebook application, right? So if you want to create a file, we are going to use the way editor. See guys, I didn't connect it to the server. I have opened git bash. I am working in my local repository only, laptop only. I didn't connect it to the server. Okay. Suppose you may have question. Suppose you have company laptop and you don't have personal laptop. Okay. So you don't want to install this git bash and all. You have some restrictions. But git bash they can allow you. Even if they have restrict also, you can create a ticket. They're going to install you. Suppose still they are not allowing. What you will do? If you go to our YouTube channel, okay. So I have created one video how to connect to the Linux server, how to install this Git, right? This one, and how to develop the code in the server, Linux server, then how to push into the remote repository. So all these things I covered in this video. Just go through this video. Okay, so I have connected to Linux server from my laptop. There I am developing the code. Then from there I am pushing the code to the remote server. Okay, so you guys can work on this one also. You can go to this video and you can connect to the Linux server, practice that git commands in the Linux server. Okay, so whoever don't have the access to that office laptop. Okay, so if you have personal computer, okay, whatever I'm explaining, just follow that one. Clear? So now I want to create a file. And one more thing, once if you create a git empty local repository using the git init command, it is going to create that three logical areas. What are those three logical areas? Working area, staging area, local repository. So it is going to create that three logical areas. Logical areas means you are not able to see physically. Okay, so if you create a file, so I'm going to create a file va db utils.java. Just type I, it will come insert mode, and you can write something. Hello guys. Okay, this is the Java file which contains db related code. Just I'm writing something. Assume this is a Java code. Now I have created a file. Okay, so the file is available in working area. So what are the files which we are going to create? Right. So what are the files which we are going to modify? Those files are going to available in the working area. So if you create a new file or if you update an existing file, automatically it is going to be available in the working area. So how to know whether my file is in working area, staging area, or local repository? Very simple. Just you can execute that one command, git status command. So if you execute this git status command, it is going to give that where your file is existed, whether it is in working area or staging area, local repository. So we have created one file, right? So already we know this file is going to be available in the working area. Just execute git status command, hit the enter. See here, it is showing that red color and it is saying that untracked files. So the files which are available in working area, we can call as untracked files. The files which are available in working area, we can call as untracked files. Right? So I'm going to develop, I'm going to create that one more file, va string utils.java, string utils.java. Okay. This is Java class which contains string related functions. Just I'm keeping like that one message, save it. So now if you see two files are there, right? Now you can go and you can execute that git status command. See, it is showing that two files, showing that two files. So by default, if you create a file, if you update a file, which is going to be available in the working area. Clear? So now I want to move the files from working area to the staging area. So right now, two files are in working area. I want to move these two files from working area to the staging area. Okay, how we can move it? So for that one, we are going to use the term git add command. So if you execute git add command, it is going to move all the files from working area to the staging area. So you can use that git add dot, or you can use that git add star. Suppose assume in working area we have Java files and we have shell script files. I want to move only that Java classes. I don't want to move other source code. Okay, then what to do? See, right now if you execute git add star, git add dot, or git add star, all the files which are available in working area, it is going to move to the staging area. So if you want to move only that Java classes, we can go into that wildcard symbols, git add star dot java, star dot java. So it is going to move all the Java classes to the staging area. So now assume we executed that git add dot. So it is moved the files from working area to the staging area. So what do you mean by staging area? So staging area is a intermediate between area from working area and local repository. Whatever the files which are available in, usually whatever the files which are we are going to keep in staging area. So these files are the development is completed. So whatever that development completed, those files usually we are going to keep in the staging area. So whatever the files which are ongoing development files which we are going to be available in the working area. So if you move the files from working area to the staging main, you have completed the development. After completing development only, usually we are going to keep into the staging area. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I will create that one more file. Okay. So va deploy.sh. Type I, it will come inside more deployment script. Deployment script. Save it. Now, if you execute git status command, see, it is showing the three files. So now, if you execute git add dot or git add star, it is going to move all the files. But if you want to move only the Java files, you can execute git add star dot java. So now, if you execute git status command, see here, it is showing the two files. two files in the green color and one file is in the red color, right? So the files which are available in staging area, it is going to display in the green color, and also we can call as tracked files. We can call as tracked files, right? It is going to display in the green color. Okay. So now if I execute git add dot, what will happen? It is going to move all the files. Now we can execute git status command. See here, three files are showing in the green color, right? So three files are in the staging area. So now if you execute, so now deploy data such also here. So if you want to commit these files into local repository, what you can do? We are going to use that. Which command? Git commit command. Git commit command. So git commit -m, the message. So very first time I am committing, na? So I am going to give that first commit. So like this I am going to. Okay. So Mohammed Mantesh is asking, can we get the files from staging area to the working area? Is it possible to get back? Yes, it is possible. We'll discuss that one using the git reset command. Right. And also you may have question. So here 10 files are there in working area. I have completed only 2 files. Is it possible to add only those 2 files? Yes, it is possible. How? For that one, we are going to use that like this one. Git add file name 1 space file name 2, like this one. Git add file name 1 space file name 2. So that time, whatever the file names you have specified, those files only it is going to add to the staging area. Same way here also. Now if you execute this command, what will happen? Whatever the files which are available in staging area, all the files it is going to commit into your local repository, right? Is it possible to commit only one file? Is it possible? Yes. So you can specify that file name git commit -m. Okay, this one, like this one. dbtl start. They have specify the file name, right? So that time what will happen? Only this file is going to commit. If you don't specify any file, whatever the files which are available in staging area, all the files are going to commit into your local repository. Assume I have a one file in the working area. Okay, employee service dot java, and 3 files are in the staging area. So now if you execute this command, how many files are going to commit into local repository? Only 3 files, not all. Okay, so once if you execute git commit command, it is going to check what are the files which are available in staging area. Those files only it is going to commit, not all the files. So the files which are available in working area, it is not going to commit. It is not going to commit. Only what are the files which are available in staging area, those files are going to commit into local repository. Right. So now let me execute it. So let me create one more file, employee service.java. Sai Tej is asking, can we get back the file to staging area? We'll discuss. So this class contains the service logic. Just I'm keeping some message. Assume these are the Java classes. So we are not the Java developers. So that's why just we are keeping some messages. Now if you see, 3 files are in the staging area, 1 file is in the working area. So before executing git commit command, okay, we have to configure username, email ID. Very first time, I hope everyone has using this git bash for committing the code very first time, right? So you have to configure that username and email ID. So for that one, we are going to use that git config hyphen global, okay, hyphen user dot name. So no need to use git config hyphen global user dot name and specify that username. So the username is Devops training BLR, or if you want you can give your name also, not a problem. So I'm going to give that Mithun Technologies. If you want you can give your name or username, whatever that username is you have given for creating account, na? That one. Same way email ID. So whatever the email ID which you have used for creating account in the GitHub, that email ID you have to use. So I have used that DevOps training blr@gmail.com. So this is the mail ID which we used. Clear? So first you have to execute these 2 commands before executing the git commit command. So I want to check whether it is configured these details or not. If it is configured, what details it has configured, I need to check it. Okay, so for that one we are going to use that git config hyphen global hyphen list. Okay, so already I have configured username, email ID. Just you can execute this command and you can see it is showing that Mithun Software Solutions username is this one. So if you want to change this one, instead of Mithun Software Solutions, I want to use that Mithun Technologies. Okay, very simple. Execute this command, so it is going to override. Now if you see it has changed to the Mithun Technologies, right? So this is only one time activity, guys. Only one time activity. After installing git bash, you have to do it. This is only one time. Clear? So already I have configured username, email ID, and it is displaying also. Clear? So now I'm going to execute that git commit command. Once if I execute the git commit command, only these files are going to commit into local repository. Let's see. Git commit -m, give the message, commit message, first commit, and save it. See here, 3 files changed, 4 instructions means 4 lines committed the code, right? So these 3 files are committed into your local repository. Now if you execute git status command and see, only one Java class is in working area. Assume this Java class also completed development. So I am going to add git add dot. It has added to the staging area. Now you can check the status. See, now I want to commit this source code into that local repository. So for that one, we are going to use that git commit command. Git commit -m. Okay. So give the message added service class. Now if you see, execute the git status command, observe here, it is showing that on branch master nothing to commit, working tree clean, means everything it is committed into local repository, right? So now all the source code is available in the our local repository, right? So now we need to share this source code with our colleagues, right? So right now it is available in your local repository. Okay? So yesterday my laptop has shut down. So whatever we drawn that one, it is closed. So yesterday we were discussing about this one, right? So we have created a one repository, Facebook, Facebook repository, right? So as a developer, he's going to develop the code, right? So as a developer, he's going to create that local repository, right? Then he's going to develop the code, he's going to commit the code into local repository, then he's going to push the code to the remote repository. Now the code is available in the local repository. Others can able to access this code? No, others not able to access this code. Then how to share your source code with other colleagues? So for that one, we need to push the code from local repository to remote repository, which we created yesterday, that remote repository, right? So for that one, first what you have to do, you have to map that remote repository with your local repository. Have to map remote repository URL with your local repository. Then only we can able to map, right? So for that one, we are going to use one command. What is the command? Anybody idea? Git remote add alias name. So you can give any alias name for this entire URL. Okay, so if you see, we have created a repository, right? Remote repository. So I have logged in. So if I want to go to my remote repository which I have created, very simple. After logging, if you click on this your profile, you will see your organizations. Click on that organization. So this is the organization which I have created. Click on this organization name, and if you see, click on repositories, you will see that repositories. So take this repository, click on this one. So take this HTTPS URL. Okay, first click on this HTTPS URL. Okay, and click on this clipboard. It is going to copy. Okay, so for this entire URL, instead of remembering this entire URL, give one alias name. So I'm going to use the FB, Facebook, right? Git remote add alias name and give that entire URL. Okay. So once if you execute this command, it is going to map remote repository URL with your local repository. It is going to map remote repository URL with your local repository, right? So let's see. Saitesh is asking, what happens if we execute git commit before configuring that email and username? It will ask you that it is going to give one error message. It will ask who you are, and it will give the two commands also. So before executing git commit command, you have to configure that email ID and username. It is not going to allow you. Okay. So now we know using this command, we can map the remote repository with the local repository. So after mapping, if you want to know whether it is mapped correctly or not, or if it is mapped, which URL it is mapped, for that one we are going to execute git remote -v. Using this git remote -v, we can check that which URL is mapped and hit the enter. Observe, right now it is not showing anything. Why? Because we didn't map any remote repository URL right now. Right. So now what we are going to do? We are going to map this URL, remote repository URL. Okay, just execute this one. So now you can execute git remote -v and see here it is showing that this remote repository URL, right? For pushing the code from your local repository, fetching from code from remote repository to local, same URL we are going to use. So now you have mapped that remote repository URL. Now I want to push the code from local repository to remote repository. Which command we can use it? Anybody idea? We are going to use that git push command. Git push alias name. What is the alias name we have given? FB, right? FB and branch name. So what is the default branch? The default branch name is master branch. Okay, so which is going to create with this name. We'll discuss in next session what is the master branch. Is it possible to create other branches? How to create it? We are going to discuss all these things. So once if you execute this command, it is going to ask you that git credentials, the GitHub credentials, where you are pushing this credentials, it is going to ask. So we are going to push the code to the GitHub. So GitHub credentials, it is going to ask. So already I think my GitHub credentials has saved. So let me delete it. So GitHub credentials, it is going to store into that. If you are using MacBook, it is going to store into the keychain. Okay, so I think it is deleted. Okay, seems it is not there. So credit, if you are using Windows, okay, if you are using MacBook, keychain access, this is the app. There it is going to store the credentials. If it is a Mac, suppose if you are using that Windows, okay, Microsoft Credentials Manager, Microsoft Credentials Manager. If you are using this Windows, okay, can you guys can confirm whether you can able to see this Credentials Manager app is there or not? Just you can search in the left side, the search option is there, right? So now I am going to push the code. So for that one, we are going to use that, okay, git push command. Git push alias name FB branch name master. So now let's execute git push alias name FB branch name master. So suppose sometimes people are going to give that wrong alias name. So I'm using that FBB. Let's see what will happen. See, it is showing that fatal error. FBB does not appear to be a Git repository, could not read from the remote repository. Please make sure you have the correct access rights and the repositories. Okay, so it is showing that FBB. It is not the correct one. That time you can execute git remote -v and check it which one it is there. What is the alias name you have mapped? So now you have to use git push alias name FB branch name master and execute it. So it is asking username. So if you don't know the username, very simple. You can go here, click on your profile. You will see that Devops training BLR. Devops training BLR. This is my username. So guys, don't give the email ID. You have to give the username. So my username is Devops training BLR. Hit the enter. See, it is asking the password. So it is not going to allow you to use the password. I think from last year 2021 August they have changed that instead of password you have to use the term PAT. The abbreviation for PAT is personal access token. Personal access token. We have to use a PAT. So where we will get this PAT? In the GitHub. So log in into the GitHub. Okay, and you will see that settings. Click on this user profile. Click on the settings. Okay, and just scroll down. You will see that developer settings. Click on this developer settings and you will see personal access tokens. Right, so it's already created one, so I'm deleting this one, so I'm going to create it. Okay, so now how to generate this token? Very simple. Click on new token and it is going to ask your GitHub password. Give the password and give the token name. So I'm going to give the token name as new PAT. Something you can give, any name you can give, guys. This name. So expiry 30 days. After 30 days, it is going to expire. So if you want, you can keep that 60 days, 90 days. No expiry means never it is going to expire. Okay. So I'm going to select some scopes here. Okay. Randomly, I'm selecting now and clicking on generate token. So once if you click on generate token, see it is going to generate this token and you have to copy and save somewhere because later you are not able to see it is showing that one message also. Make sure to copy your personal access token now. You won't be able to see it again. Okay, so I am going to save here. Now just if you refresh it, you are not able to see, right? So later you have realized that I need to give some more scopes. So what you can do, click on this name and select it. Okay, based on your requirement. Okay, click on update token. See, even if you update also, it is not displaying. Even if you update also, it is not displaying. Right. So that's why as soon as you generate this token, you have to save somewhere. So now you have to use this token. Okay, this PAT here, copy, right click, paste it. So you are not able to see after pasting. and hit the enter button. See, it has pushed the code. So now if you go to that repository, okay, so go to your repository, click on organizations. So this is the organization which we created. In that organization we have created a repository. So click on this one. See, source code has pushed to here in the remote repository, right? So means name will be given to the key. Yes, the name, whatever the name you can give it to. And generating PAT is a one-time activity. So if you want, you can generate n number of tokens with different scopes also. You can generate not only one token, you can generate, right? So when you are pushing the code, you have to use this one. Now if you go to that keychain access, and if you see GitHub credentials are saved. Okay, so if you want to delete it, right click on this one, delete this github.com. So my credentials are saved here. My credentials are saved here. Clear? Okay. So earlier it was allowing that password, okay, for authentication. So now it is not allowing from 2021 August onwards. You have to use that PAT only, personal access token only. Southern is asking for Linux. For Linux also, okay. You mean you were asking this application name? We need to check where it is going to store if it is a Linux. So guys, what are the commands I'm executing? Same way you can do it in Linux server also. Santosh is asking, is the same for enterprise version also? Yes, same. Even in enterprise version also, you have to use that PAT or SSH key. We'll discuss that one. So right now we are using the HTTPS URL. If you are using the HTTPS URL, you should use the PAT. We are going to use that SSH URL. We'll discuss if you are going to use the SSH URL, how to use that SSH URL and what configurations you have to do it. Clear? So now if you go and see, it is showing that 16 minutes, 17 minutes and all. But just now we pushed the code to here. Nah? What this time is going to represent? This time is going to represent when you have committed into your local repository. Okay. So the time whatever it is showing here, nah? This time is showing that when you have committed the code into your local repository. So I have committed this class late, nah? That's why it is showing that 16 minutes ago. Clear? So like this, you can develop the code, commit the code into local repository, then you can push the code to the remote repository. See, we have committed 2 times in our local repository. With one time using the git push command, we moved that all the commits from local repository to remote repository. Right. So this local repository concept is there in only in the Git. Right. If you use that SVN and all, there is no local repository concept. And many times they ask this git flow command. So can you explain the git flow? Git flow means how we are going to develop the code, how we are going to commit into local repository, how we are going to push the code to the remote repository. This is very important. You have to explain. So first what you can do. So using this git init command, so I'm explaining that git flow. Many times they ask this question also. Can you explain me that git flow? So first you have to create a git empty local repository. So for that one, I use that git init command. So after that, we developed some files. So once if you develop a files, okay, create a file which is going to available in the working area. So we need to check that whether file is working in the staging area. So for that one, we use that git status command. So after executing git status command, it will give that files are available in which area, whether it is a staging area or working area, local repository. So I have developed some files. It is by default it is going to available in the working area. Then I executed that git add command. It is moved to the staging area. Then using this git commit command, I have committed the files from staging area to the local repository. Then using the git remote command, git remote add, I have mapped that remote repository with the local repository. Then I push using the git push command. I pushed that local repository changes to the remote repository. So like this, you have to explain this git flow. Clear? Anybody have any questions? So Ashok is asking, if developer required to add some more files after pushing to the remote repository, is there any other option to add? Same process, same flow again you have to. So, but you don't want to use this git init because already it is existed. So Om Prakash is asking, if is there any existing repository, we will use that git clone instead of git init. Yes, we'll discuss later that one. Anyway, we are going to discuss about the git clone command also. What is Ahmad Ali is asking, what is use of local repository? See, first we can develop the code and you can store that code into your local repository. N number of times you can commit it. So the advantage of using the local repository is, suppose if your remote repository is down, okay, if you have local repository, you can develop the code, you can move to the staging area, then you can commit into your local repository. When it is up and running, you can move that all the changes to the remote repository. Praveen is asking, how developer will share the source code with the DevOps engineer? Very simple, Baya. So developer is pushing to the remote repository. Already everyone have the access. Okay, this remote repository. So now DevOps engineer can go here and he can take this code. How we can take this code, we'll discuss later. So if the already code is available in remote repository, how to take this code into your local repository laptop, we'll discuss that Om Prakash was saying using the git clone command. Okay, can all user will able to push that code or only one assigned users? So if you have that access, write access to this repository, anybody can able to do it. If they don't have write access, they are not able to. Santosh is asking, I am asking, is there any option to add code directly to the remote repository? Using the commands, you don't have any options. But directly in the GUI, you can come here and you can develop the files. But using the commands, you don't have any options. So directly push to that, develop the code and push to the remote repository. You have to commit into local repository. From there, you have to push to the remote repository. Clear? So you may have question, the difference between Git and GitHub. Right? Is both are same? Both are not same. Okay, both are not the same. So Git is a version control system which can be used to develop the code, commit the code. Right? Git is a version control system. It can be used to develop the code and maintain the versioning. Versioning means each commit it is going to maintain one version number. Okay, versioning. So that's why we are calling VCS, this version control system. VCS means version control system. What is the GitHub? GitHub is a hosting service okay, which can be used to manage the source code. It will provides the GUI. It will provide the GUI. See, Git, it is not providing any GUI, but see, GitHub, it is providing the GUI. Right, we can share the source code with others also using this GitHub. Using the Git, is it possible? No. So GitHub is a hosted service for the Git, and it will provide the GUI where we can manage the source code. So Git and GitHub both are different. See, it is a GitHub. It is a GitHub. Right. So we have other option also, other SCM also, like GitLab. GitLab. Okay. And I asked you guys to create that account in the Bitbucket also. Right? Bitbucket. Bitbucket. So same Git you can use to connect to the GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket. Same commands which is going to help you to push the code to that GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. Because all these three developed on top of Git only. So whatever the commands, Git commands are going to work for GitHub, same commands are going to work for GitLab and Bitbucket and Azure Devops also. Okay, so in the Azure Devops, they have their own source code management called as Azure repos. Azure repos. So if you know the Git commands, easily can able to learn that GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure repos also. Okay, but it is not the free. If you want to use this Azure repos, you have to pay the money. You have to use it. Okay, but if you know the Git and GitHub, easily can able to learn this GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure repos also. So Smita is asking, so do professionals IT companies using the GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, or they do use only Git? Madam, only if you use the Git, what they can do? They can, developers can develop the code, they can commit into their local repository. If they want to share with the other colleagues, they should use any one of the source code management, GitHub or Bitbucket or GitLab or Azure repos or any other source code management. Right? They should use GitHub plus GitLab, GitHub plus GitHub, GitHub plus Bitbucket, Git plus Azure repos. Right? Or they can use SVN also. So can we use Git plus SVN? No. So using the Git, you can work with the GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure repos. Okay. So if I use that SVN server, so for that one, we are going to use the SVN client. SVN client. It is yes. SVN client for SVN. It is correct. So Git plus GitHub. Yes. Git plus GitLab. Yes. Git plus Bitbucket. Yes. Git plus Azure repos. Yes. See, if you know the Git commands, easily you can able to use any one of these. right? So that's why I'm saying, if you know our DevOps master program, learning Azure DevOps is very simple. In 1 month you can able to learn. So that's why we are planning next month, or in March or May, March or April, we are planning to give Azure training for only our students, because already our students know that everything, right? So for them easily we can able to give the training. First we'll start Azure DevOps training for our students. Then we'll start for others also. But at that time, again, we need to teach that Linux commands, shell scripting, all these things, Git commands and all. Whatever we're discussing now, no? First we need to discuss these things. Then we need to teach the Azure topics. Okay. So Om Prakash is asking, how can we share the code between two local repositories? It is not possible. Okay. So that will help, sir. I don't know what you ask. So okay, this batch people also can join. No, madam, because you should know that Docker, Kubernetes, all these things. Once if you complete this, okay, DevOps master program, then you can eligible for this Azure DevOps, whatever we are starting. But later we are going to start. So that one anybody can able to join, because from scratch we are going to start that batch. So we are planning right now for our students only, because already our students knows that this one Linux, shell scripting, Git, Maven, all the tools. If you know those tools, learning Azure DevOps is very simple. So instead of GitHub, we are going to use the Azure repos. However, we created the repositories in GitHub. Same way here we are going to create the repositories. It's similar, guys. Here and there, it is going to change. Instead of Nexus, we are going to use the Azure artifacts. Instead of Jenkins, we are going to use the Azure pipelines. Okay. Sai Tej is asking, sir, can you show that how team members will work with the source code available in the repos, like download, edit? We'll discuss, Maya. Don't worry. So first we are discussing how we can develop the code, how we can commit into local repository, how we can push the code to here. So again, we are going to discuss about how we can get the code from remote repository to local repository, how to update the code, how again we can push to the remote repository. Clear? So anybody have any questions so far, whatever we discussed? And you guys got the difference between GitHub, and Git. Right. So now I will ask one question. Difference between Git and SVN. Is there any difference between Git and SVN? Yes. So Git is a distributed version control system, whereas SVN or CVS or TFS are the version control systems. So here D is extra, sir, but here everything is same. Yes. What is the D represents here? Distributed. So Git is a distributed version control system. So what do you mean by distributed version control system? If you see here, if you are using the Git, each developer, they have their own local repository. First they are going to develop the code, they are going to commit into their local repository, then they are going to push the code to the remote repository. Suppose if we use that SVN, there is no concept of local repository. Directly developer is going to work with the centralized server, and they are going to push the code. So they don't have any local repository concept. Clear? So that is the difference between Git and SVN, Git and CVS, Git and TFS. SVN, CVS, TFS, all are version control systems, but Git is distributed version control system. Each developer, each resource have their own local repository. First, we are going to develop the code, commit into local repository, then we are going to push to the remote repository. Clear? Anybody have any questions? So if developer can directly commit code to remote repos, what is the role of DevOps engineering? As a DevOps engineer, we are going to take that code, we are going to automate the deployment process. Okay. So maybe you have a question, sir, developer is going to develop the code. No? Why we need to learn all these commands? As a DevOps engineer also, we are going to develop some shell scripts. We are going to develop some playbooks in Ansible. We are going to develop some YAML files in the Docker Kubernetes under. Right. So if you want to share with our colleagues, other DevOps engineers, you have to use one source code management, right? You should know all these things. And if the developer don't know all this, we have to guide them. You have to we have to educate to that development team, and we have to make them in the proper direction. Clear? Suresh Kumar is sir, if you start Azure DevOps in April, then this batch people are going to join, na? Because they are. Yes, we'll see, Suresh. Don't worry about right now. Okay, don't think too much about that one. Anyway, it is not a free course. Okay, so first you can complete it. So whoever want that Azure DevOps, they can join. It is not a mandatory for everyone. Here, Suresh is saying here push is like check-in. Yes. So we are going to use that SVN check-in. CHCK equals to the git push. So if you want to get the code from the remote repository to laptop, SVN checkout. It's equal to that git pull or git fetch. Even TFS check-in, TFS checkout also. So all the SVN commands are going to start with SVN. All the git commands are going to start with git. We have git checkout command also, but it is different. We'll discuss later. So far you guys clear about this git flow, right? We can develop the code, we can commit into local repository, then we are going to push the code to the remote repository. So now after pushing that code to the remote repository, again I am going to work. So now I am going to update. Right now you can just check it, git status. See, it is showing that on branch master, nothing to commit. Working strictly means everything is committed into your local repository. Everything is committed into your local repository. So now I'm going to update that existing file va db start java. Just type I, it will come insert mode. Hello, I am updating again. I'm updating again. So already we know if you create a file, new file, or if you update that existing file, where that files are going to be available, it is going to available in the working area. Just see, it is showing that modified, right? So now I'm going to commit this code. See, it is already committed, right? Just we have updated. It is already existing file, we have updated. So for that one, with a single command, you can add to the staging area and you can commit also. So for that one, we are going to use git commit -a add -m message updated file. I'm giving like this one. So in this case, what will happen? It is going to add this dbtools.java file into the staging area and it is going to commit. See, it's committed. Now you can execute git status. See, it is showing that on branch master, nothing to commit, working tree clean. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another file, vi cleanup.sh. This script will delete the unused files in temp directory. So now we have created a new file. Just execute. See, it is showing that cleanup.sh. It is a new file. So for new files, can we use this command git commit -a -m added script file? Is it possible? No. So -a option will be useful only for the, it will be work, it is going to be work for existing files. See, we are getting the error. On branch master, untracked files are there. Nothing added to the commit, but untracked files are present. So it is not going to work for the new files. It is not going to work for new files. Okay, so it is going to work only for the existing files, modified files, right? So now if you want to add these new files, we have to use the term git add command, git add dot, or you can use a star also. See, now just execute git status. See, now you can commit it. Git commit -m added script file. It's committed. Now you can execute git status. See, it is showing on branch master, nothing to commit, working tree clean, right? It means it's committed. Suresh is asking, sir, what is the use of staging area? As we are doing nothing there, why can't the files directly go from working area to the local? So first understand this one. See, I have developed the 10 files. In that one, only 2 files are completed the development. Remaining 8 files are not completed. I want to commit only those 2 files. How we are going to commit it? So whatever the files are developed, that development completed, those files you can move to the staging area. Remaining 8 files you can keep in working area only. Then you can commit it. So whatever the files which are available in staging area, only those files are going to commit into your local repository. Clear? So first understand this one, then easily you can able to understand what is the use of staging area. So whatever the files which are completed the development, those files we are going to keep into the staging area. Whatever the files which are incomplete, which are in working, then we are going to keep into the working area. So whatever the files which are ready for pushing that to remote repository, we are going to keep into local repository. Clear? So now I have committed n number of times in my local repository. Using the one git push command, we are going to push to the remote repository. So now it is not asking the credentials. Na? Why? Because it is already saved in the credentials manager. So Santosh is asking, can we use the git commit file name? Yes, it is possible. You can commit. Suppose already I have explained Bhaiya, Santosh Bhaiya. See, in the staging area, I have 10 files. So if you want to commit only one file, I have explained. So if you see git commit hyphen m commit message, the file name 1, file name 2. So like that you can use it. So whatever the file name you have specified, only those files are going to commit into local repository. But you don't have any option to push to the particular files from local repository to remote repository. So once if you execute this command, whatever the files which are available in your local repository, everything it is going to push to the remote repository. Right? See, we have control from whatever the file, the specific files you can add to the staging area, and the specific files you can commit into local repository. But we don't have option to push to specific files to the remote repository. Tarun is asking, how can I see local repository files? You can see, just type ls. So it will be available in your local repository as well as in the remote repository also. Clear? So now if you go and see in the remote repository, okay, just refresh it. It is showing that 4 commits, means 4 times we committed. Is there any command, git command, see how many commits are there in your local repository? See, if it is a remote repository, it is having the GUI. There we can see that 4 commits. Click on this one, 4 commits. You will see here 4 commits here. Yes or no? 4 commits are there. So like this, is there any command we can see in the local repository? Yes, git log command. So if you use that git log command, it is going to display that all the commit IDs, whatever it is there. Right? See here, head is a pointer. It is going to point to that current branch. So the branch is master branch, and current commit ID. This is the latest commit ID. So many times they ask this question: what is the head? Head is a pointer. It is going to point to the current branch and the latest commit ID. Alright, see, it is displaying n number of commit IDs. So if you want to see that other commit IDs, hit the enter. So one by one it is going to display. So if you want to come out, just press that Q. You have to press that Q. Okay. So right now 4 commits are there, but I don't want to display that all the commits. I want to display only that last 2 commit IDs. Is it possible? Yes, git log -2. See, if you use a git log -2, it is going to display that recent commit ID. Okay, so if you see here, this is the local repository branch, and this is the remote repository branch. See, here B here represent that remote repository. Master is the branch name. This is your local repository. Head is a pointer. It is going to point to that current branch in your local repository and going to point to that the latest commit ID. Clear? Git log hyphen one line. So hyphen, I think hyphen. Na? So if you use that hyphen one line, means it is going to display one line instead of detailed information. See here, commit ID, commit message, commit ID, commit message. But whereas if you use a git log command, it will give that full commit ID, right? Author name, email ID, date when it has committed, and commit message. Commit message it is going to display, right? In one of the interview they asked this question: what is the command to display that all the commit IDs in your local repository? Git command, git log command. So after answering this one, So the interviewer asked, so git log command, what is the information it is going to display? It is going to display that commit ID, author name, email ID, date, and commit message. Right. But if you observe here, it is not displaying that how many files you have committed in that particular commit. Yes or no? Can you able to see how many files are committed? So in this particular commit, I want to know that how many files are committed. We are going to use the git show command, git show commit ID. So you can take that 6 to 7 characters, or you can take that full commit ID also. You can take it, or 6 to 7 characters also fine. You don't want to take full commit ID. Okay. So just execute this command. See, it is showing that in this commit ID, dbutils.java file has committed. So in this dbutils.java, this particular line has committed. It is clearly showing only this line. It is showing that plus, and it is showing the green color. Means you have added. Suppose you have deleted something. Okay, it will show that minus and a red color. If you observe here, git show command, by default it is going to display that full message. I don't want, I want only the file name. So for that one, we are going to use that some options. Git show hyphen hyphen pretty is equal to empty and hyphen hyphen name hyphen only. Okay, so if you use these options, it is going to display only the file names, right? Suppose if you take that this commit ID, okay, remove this one. Oh, same commit ID. So we'll use that this one. See, in this first commit, we have committed that 3 files, na? Right? So like this, you can use that git show command to display that what are the files committed in that particular commit ID. Clear? Anybody have any questions so far? What are the commands which we discussed? It's interesting, right? All the commands are it's very easy to remember also. Just guys, don't by heart it. Remember that flow. Okay, easily can able to understand these commands. Anybody have any questions? No questions? Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you guys. Try to join from laptop, not from the mobile. So Rakesh, okay, again, so some people took that permission. They have some concern. They told that in this week they are going to sort it out. Okay, so don't join from mobile. Shiv Prasad Naidu. Okay. Okay. Thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.